problems, or it can be full of opportunities. When you live in your circle of influence, if you live in what you can change, as you've heard the gurus say, be the change you want to see in the world, is living in what can I do? How can I change? And what took my mother away was a heart condition that I did not understand. I was a child, and this devastating thing had happened to me. But by every day living in what I could change, what I could be, I find myself in a position where I write protocols influencing the very thing that took my mother, that caused my mother's death. That today I have influenced to make sure that no unnecessary death has to occur to anyone's mother. To all those little boys out there with mothers or fathers or grandparents with these conditions, I find myself in the privileged position to be able to assist them in maybe to not ever go through what I went through in the way I went through it.
Thank you. I have many stories that are similar. You know, one of the greatest wounds I have felt was as a woman. I had a lot of trauma happen to me from being a young girl and through my teenage years into my 20s, a lot of physical, mental, emotional trauma. And I realized that the more I can heal within, the more I can understand what has happened and how to use that for the benefit. We started with our heart center about 4 years ago. We started having our ladies' retreats. We now have ladies' mornings, etc., where we teach women about who they are, how the power is within, but how to access it without hurting or harming anybody else. And yeah, we have a lot of success with our ladies days, ladies mornings, and our ladies retreats, just teaching how to be better women, how to be better women for ourselves, for our partners, our brothers, our sisters, etc. So I'm going to move on now to what it means to be a modern day medicine woman or man. So I have these discussions with many people. When I first meet people, it's very interesting. They always say to me, but you don't look like a shaman. You don't look like somebody who works with medicine. So I kind of always ask, well, what is that supposed to look like? Number one. And number two, I also don't like labels. We don't like to operate with labels. So we kind of just say we work with medicine. And you know, I think putting ourselves in any kind of box is going to just limit us. And we are limitless beings. We offer so much more. So being a modern day medicine woman to me, we live in a Western world. I don't live in the jungle. I understand the Western world issues. I understand the Western world traumas. Myself, I have had many illnesses through my life. I had epilepsy. I had arthritis in my back. I had angioedema. I've had many, many traumatic physical experiences, and including being burned 27% of my body. And I have healed from them through understanding how to unlock what is inside of me, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual lessons thereof. And again, turned it into it worked for me instead of against me. I'm able to guide people now with sound therapy, with healing with all the modalities that I've learned through the years. And sorry, I keep on looking at the little messages that come through and it distracts. I'm like, oh, who's that? So I am able to guide people because I understand it. I understand how it fits in a vibrational field, how it sits in you, what it looks like, why it's there, and how to shift it, how for you to recognize it. And having said that, one of the biggest things for me, I believe, is that everybody is their own healer. You are your own healer within. People like myself and Malvern and our team, we're a team of 7. We all just guide you there. We just shine a light for you to find your own healing, because when you have your own victory into your healing, you can own it and you can actually live that healing, which is beautiful. Yeah, and look, on our team, we've got Louise, who's a fantastic nutritionist as well, because you have to look after your body. Your body is your temple. A lot of people live in the emotional, spiritual space a lot, and they forget about their bodies, and your body, your gut is your second brain. So a lot of times when people come and see me, I first ask them, how are you eating? What are you eating? How is your body relating to where you're at? Because depression, anxiety, a lot of that is from what you're eating and not looking after your physical body. So on our team, we've got Louise that helps with that. We've got Malvern who directs with his medical knowledge. So we really believe in linking the two and understanding, our animalistic behaviors and how they fit into our healing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a whole being, and in order for any form of healing to take place, you got to have the right environment. You can take the greatest, most nutritious seeds and throw them in a desert; they will not grow. Your body is that environment. How your body receives any form of healing, whether it be through plant medicine, whether it be spiritual, it depends on where your body is at. If your body is not in a place where your brain can receive what is being imparted onto you, then the growing takes a lot longer. uh, be that it, for us, it's to be that fertile soil that anything that you get taught, whether it be your chakras or your ego or what shadows are, you're in a position to be able to receive it.
Thank you. And I think that's why we have all of our workshops, and especially now with lockdown, it's actually been amazing for us to be able to spread the word and help people really understand. You can ask people what's an ego, and they kind of have their own understanding. But with our workshops, we actually teach you about ID, ego, super ego, the different spiritual egos, how we can all get stuck. Believe me, in the spiritual world, even so much more into ego. So we guide people on how to and what to recognize it within yourself. I'm not here to point it out for you. It's for you to discover and go, oh, okay, that's something else I can work with. That's something else I can work through to become better for myself. So yeah, that's
if you look at it in this perspective, we all understand how the outside world works. We understand how a traffic light works, how the shops work, finance, the banking system, and so on and so on. But have we stopped to say, do I understand how I work? What governs me? What are my systems, my internal systems? Where is my ego? Do I know why I make the decisions that I make on a daily basis? Um, if you start turning within and asking yourself the real questions, that's, for me, is the first step to healing, is to acknowledge that maybe we don't know ourselves as well as we think we do. We are born into a world where everything that our entire beliefs it's taught to us. It wasn't decided. We were too young to decide. And now we are grown. We have an opportunity to look within and say, what are my beliefs? Why are my beliefs the way they are? And for the future generations, am I going to pass on the same regurgitated conditioning that I was brought up in, or is there a better way? Is there a better way?
Thank you. Yeah, my number one rule in my life is know thyself. Know thyself. the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, the ugly, the pretty, everything. Know thyself. And also what I love is you're never too big to grow. You are never too big to grow. We can always learn. I learn every day. I'm always so fascinated by people, by psychology, by healing, by understanding nature, by understanding us, ourselves, how we operate. Yeah, so.
If you think about how your body never stops needing food, your body never stops needing water, same applies to your mind, same applies to your spirit. Just because you ate yesterday doesn't mean you're never going to eat again. So just because you've read about chakras, for example, doesn't mean you never revisit chakras, because when you are 12 years old, you understand food as sandwiches and whatever is in your lunch tin. But when you're 22 years old, 10 years later, you understand food completely different. Same applies to anything that governs us, whether it would be our ego, our chakra, or chakras. When you first get introduced to something, you understand it from where you're at. And most of the time, we understand things as a concept. And the more we live the concept, the more we integrate the concept, then it's no longer a concept, it becomes a reality. And once it's a reality, you can always delve deeper. The well, there is no bottom. There is no bottom, there is no ceiling. Yeah, so that's why no matter how many times I've ventured into self, it's the place that I will continue to go through plant medicine or whatever form of inner understanding is at my disposal.
Thank you. We've actually got you as you were talking now, I was thinking of Nikki and Reno. They are two of our Heart Center family members, and man, you know, they've just completed their 3rd chakra workshop. And these two are just growing and growing. And every time they revisit the chakra workshop, they're like, wow, there's something else I learned. Oh, I understand it now from this viewpoint, because they've done other workshops or ceremonies, etc. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you can watch the same movie 100 times and learn something new, or see a different scene in a way that you didn't view that scene before. After a few ayahuasca retreats, I challenge you to go watch The Matrix again.
Yes. Awesome. So what I did was I've written a bit down on the shadow. It's very complex to get into, but I do challenge you to take a look at the shadow for yourself. It is actually the most beautiful experience. It's something I've been doing for years. It is amazing, you know, if the deeper you can root yourself, the deeper and the darker you can go, is the taller you can reach for the light. It just makes you more balanced. It makes you understand yourself better. And I think a lot of people have a misconception about what the shadow is, what shadow work is. So I'm just going to read this through to you. So any part of yourself that you believe is unacceptable, undesirable, or unlovable gets banished into the shadow. When you label any part of you as bad, you are the one that experiences the badness of it. The shadow consists of any part of you that your subconscious believes you don't want to see any longer. It gets stored into an energetic dungeon in your subconscious mind, and it slowly starts to wreak havoc on your perception of reality. As children, when we express certain parts of ourselves, we receive negative cues from our environment. Maybe we got angry and threw a tantrum. Our parents reprimanded the outburst and sent us to our room. Or perhaps we acted boldly, playfully, spontaneously, or silly in our 1st grade classroom. Our teacher shamed us for our lack of decorum in front of the class and told us to sit down. Whenever it happened, and it might have happened often, it threatened one of our basic needs. Would the disapproval of our parents threaten our safety? Would the disapproval of our teachers and classmates jeopardize our need to belong? We adjusted our behavior to gratify our needs, and learned to adapt in the external world. All of the unaccepted or discouraged parts of us in the first 20 years of our lives are bundled together, swept out of view, and outside our conscious awareness. So what that means is, say, basically, for example, you're a little boy and your dad said, big boys don't cry, stop crying, or Morpheus cried, don't cry. That is something that you have now made bad in your world. So now every time somebody cries, you see it as weak. You see it as a part of you that you've rejected, and therefore everyone else is weak. The shadow comprises of the aspect of our personality that we deem to be shameful, unacceptable, and ugly. It can be envy, jealousy, rage, lust, desire for power, or the wounds incurred in childhood, all of those that we keep hidden. Some of the common shadow beliefs are, I am not good enough, I am not worthy, I am unlovable, I am flawed, my feelings are not valid, I must take care of everyone around me. Why can't I just be normal like others? All that we deny in ourselves, whatever we perceive as inferior, evil, or unacceptable, becomes part of our shadow. Anything incompatible with our chosen conscious attitude about ourselves relegates to this dark side. So shadow work is never about fixing ourselves, because there's never been anything wrong. All negative emotions must be met with love, because they are just messengers of truth. So we deal, with so many beautiful souls who work on their shadow and understand that it's just a part of them that they've just denied or just put to the side because it's bad or it's wrong or it's deemed unacceptable to everyone. So we just teach people how to love each other deep, love themselves deeper. There's a saying that I love to just get into everybody's sphere is, a lot of women especially say, I need to learn to love myself. Men too, but a lot of women, I hear it all the time, I need to learn to love myself. My dearest people, you are love. Love cannot learn to love if love is love. It's like the sun saying, I need to learn to illuminate. The sun is illumination. You are love. You just need to remove those things that you've put up, the boundaries to love. So that's what we help you understand. Is there anything you'd like to add on shadow work?
Yeah, with shadow work, it's really venturing into the deep, dark side of yourself. And, it's another thing that we are taught, that everything light is good and the dark is bad. But the dark is just the unexplored. If you have not yet rather ventured into the dark, you do not know what is there. Just think about the discoveries of humanity. What if NASA decided, oh, it's dark up there, let's never go out into space? All the wonderful things that we have come to understand is venturing into the unknown. So when you see the dark as now the unknown and the light as the known, don't you want to know more? That's how we grow. You can't grow from what you know. It's already there.
Yeah.
It's about finding the new seeds to plant that can become part of the light. And for me, shadow work is it's everything. It's vital to understanding yourself. If you do not fully accept yourself, we can never fully accept anyone or accept anything in the world. Everything begins with us.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Harsh, harsh, harsh.
Harsh, harsh.
So the last thing I want to just touch on is the understanding of plant medicine such as ayahuasca, San Pedro, and DMT, the changa. So DMT is released when you're born, and it is released when you die. So that whole thing where people say, "Oh, my life flashed before my eyes," it's basically your DMT being released. So ayahuasca, wow, I get very emotional when I talk about ayahuasca. It's the most beautiful medicine. And having said that, I do encourage people to look deep within, to first see whether they've got a calling to it, because not everybody's called to ayahuasca. You can get this information or understand the healing over years, but you do get certain people that cannot, as schizophrenic or bipolar, or there's a number of reasons why it's not everybody's calling. So it's just one of the many routes to yourself. It is, however, I believe the 10 years of therapy in 10 hours. I really believe it. It's a fast track to understanding yourself, but you have to go in with the right intention. You have to go in knowing that this is where I want to heal. I'm ready to face those demons, those parts of me that need healing. I also very strongly encourage a safe environment, people who understand exactly what they're doing, people who guide you in the Ikaro, in the sacred songs, people who have facilitators to hold you there, guide you. We do live in a Western world, so it's beautiful in ceremony to understand what people are saying when you're in that space that you need some assistance. So we always make sure that I've got at least 3 facilitators on hand to be there, to guide you, to hold you, to sing for you, to make it safe. Do you have anything else to add on ayahuasca?
I love analogies and putting things in a way that you can relate it to your everyday world. Yeah, ayahuasca, the deep healing that it provides think of it if you needed a surgery. You would research the surgeon. You would then prepare properly for that surgery, and you would want to be in a place where you feel that this place where the surgery is taking place it's a safe space, and you're going to be taken care of, and everything that uh, needs to be understood by you to then come out of that surgery and live a better life because your abdomen doesn't hurt anymore. That's what you want when you're looking for a place to do plant medicine. But even with that said, by looking into your shadow, looking into where your ego is, understanding the things that form the construct of the ayahuasca world is a great place to start. Yeah. We've got to crawl before we can walk and before we can run. Sometimes we just want to get up and run, and you run straight into a brick wall. So for me, it's do the baby steps, use your building blocks to reach a place where you know that this plant medicine is going to unlock this and this because this is the point where I've reached.
Mm-hmm. So we had a comment come up now, and it's a great question that came up. How is iboga and ayahuasca different? So I have not taken ayahuasca. I've actually had friends who worked for iboga facilities. It's a beautiful plant. I have never been called to it. My understanding is that with iboga, there's a complete reset. Now, I feel that if you are going through deep addictions, like the heroin, etc. That's a great route to take. However, I did have a client about 4 or 5 years ago, a beautiful gentleman who had attended an Iboga weekend, and afterwards he came to us about 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, and he explained the difference. The difference for him was, with the Iboga, there was a complete reset. However, when he stepped away, being blank, he could still go back to taking heroin if it was a choice. Now with ayahuasca, it goes to your point of why. What was the original story behind the story of why? So, I mean, there's no person that just becomes addicted to heroin or becomes addicted to cocaine or whatever it is. There's always a reason behind the reason. So ayahuasca guides you to that initial. So say, for example, you were 4 years old or 5 years old and you took your mom a glass of juice and she said, oh, the juice is not full enough. I wanted a full glass. And you took on the story of, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy. And it kind of, ayahuasca guides you to that, to unlock what has been stopping you, to unlock and break those chains. We recently had a beautiful gentleman join an ayahuasca retreat in March. And he was in the grips of heroin for many years, along with many other things. You know, it all kind of started with having a back injury and operation, and then they put him on all these opiates and and then it became onto an addiction of heroin, etc. So when we did the ayahuasca experience or the ceremony for him, he got to the point of understanding that it was actually the support from his father which caused the initial lower back issue. So ayahuasca kind of guides you to what it is, so you can see, oh, okay, that's where it started. That's what needs to be healed. And then you will understand, oh, but I don't need that anymore. That I was using to cover up. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things that are left in the shadow become the dis-ease of the body. So when it's not addressed in your emotional state, it influences how your body reacts. Your body is one big chemical machine. If you are happy, you've got your dopamine. If you are underlying sad all the time, you're releasing cortisol into your body that can lead to numerous disease. But is it because your body was releasing the chemical? Was it because you were sad? And if you were sad, what is the underlying reason why you've been carrying that sadness? So to venture to that root is it's understanding the why. Mm-hmm. It's where the healing really begins.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so San Pedro. San Pedro is one of the most amazing medicines. It's something that we use a lot with. We use it on our retreats. When we do our ayahuasca retreats, we give an option of having San Pedro. To me, it's a very heart-opening medicine. Your heart just breaks open and you start to understand a lot more. So there's a lot of work that we get to do on the San Pedro, where we guide and teach and really crack open your heart to see what is stopping you, why it's stopping you. Just bring up those stories so that it can be released through the ayahuasca. However, we also have our ladies' retreats, our couples' retreats, our ladies' days, our couples' days, our sound therapy. I work a lot with San Pedro when I do that, because it's just like you're so open your mind does not get in the way. You're just so open to receive the messages and understand what is being brought forth to you. Anything from your side on San Pedro?
Yeah, it really puts you in touch with your emotion, and really addressing how you truly feel deep inside. Sometimes we can walk around. I know that I've been there, walked around with a smile and everything is good. The work front, the job is excellent. Relationships pretending to be excellent, but deep inside, you're not addressing those emotions. And San Pedro, yes, I think it doesn't matter how tough you think you are and how well you can hold your emotions in. San Pedro just allows you to open up and honestly let that emotion flow.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, we've had couples that kind of get there to our couples retreat, for example, and it's usually the woman that's going, I had to drag him here. And wow, to see within a couple of hours how this big strong man just drops defenses and just opens up and just really receives the medicine of sound, the medicine of information, the medicine of San Pedro. It's amazing to witness.
Yes.
Wow, it's just
Yes.
incredible. And then the changa. The changa is one of the most beautiful medicines to me. It's a I'd call it a 15-minute experience. So the best way for me to describe changa is it's a quick shortcut to ayahuasca. So in other words, you smoke it, you get dropped in the middle of the maze and you kind of got to quickly find your way out. A lot of my work I do is one-on-one changa ceremonies because it helps people get out of the mental so that I can actually connect and help guide them to what is stopping them and relieve them of that pressure or that energy block. So with ayahuasca, she leads you through the maze and you kind of eventually get to behind the veil where changa kind of drops into the middle of the maze and you go and then you soar within that. Would you like to add?
But if you're fortunate enough to have someone like Angelique to guide you through that maze, through sound and actually understanding how vibrations work with your body and guide you through that space, and then that maze is not as difficult. So once again, it's going to the surgeon who understands his scalpels.
Oh, I love my work. I love what I do. I absolutely love assisting people. Sure. So I'd like to, I know Mark has asked us to end just before 9. So I'd like to firstly just say thank you deeply to my incredible team, to Louise, who's our nutritionist. She's amazing. She does live blood analysis. So you literally go, you prick your finger and she does a tox screen and she looks at what's going on in your blood and she helps you with everything to guide you in your own body, because what's happening in my body and what's happening in your body is very different. We eat differently, we live different lifestyles, I've got a different blood type, etc. So she helps you. And I mean, like a consultation with Lou is I think it's about 1,200 Rand, including the enzymes and bacterias and whatever that you go, everything for the whole appointment and your how to eat, etc. So yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful work she does. She literally resets your gut, so resets that second brain, giving it an opportunity to start putting in the right food for you.
Correct.
Everyone is unique. Even identical twins don't have the same fingerprints.
Correct.
So everything going on inside us is exactly that, and it's a beautiful place to start to look after this vessel that holds your spirit and everything else that you seek to elevate and heal.
And then I'd like to just mention Nehara. Nehara is the most exquisite being. She is Malverne's queen. She is wow, on every level, a guide, a mentor, a loving, kind sister. She helps me so much with our ladies' retreats, our ladies' mornings. Yeah, she is just, oh, she's magnificent, and she's got so much to offer. So thank you so much, Nay, for who you are, my Nehara. And her name means the light. She is from Israel. Yeah, she's just really the light. And then I'd like to give a shout out to my brother Fritz, our brother Fritz, who is our wizard. He is amazing. He just works magic in our spaces. He is the master of San Pedro. He brews the San Pedro medicine for us. He's amazing. And I'd like to give a shout out to my Chloe Joy. For those who are in our heart center know, Chloe Joy is the front lady to our heart center. She handles the bookings. She handles my diary. She handles everything. She is just incredible. She's, I don't know what I would do without her. I love you so much, Chloe Joy. And she is, her name, Joy. Absolute joy. And last but certainly not least, my incredible, amazing husband, who just supports on every level. He is the absolute pillar for our heart center. He's the strength. He holds us all. He guides. He is just amazing. For those who have met him, understand exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So thank you. And obviously to my Mel, obviously. I mean, you can see why he's part of our heart center. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to work with you and just have you hold space and guide and teach and bring your incredible knowledge and who you are to this world. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. So we're going to go over to Mark. And questions, apparently. Yeah. So if there's any questions, Mark says that you must please just put them on the panel, and then he will throw them out to us.
Great, thank you, guys. That was amazing. I loved hearing all that you had to share and doing it with such love and grace. We do have a few questions coming in. Let's go to the first question from Alexandra. What is the difference between dis-ease and a fully formed disease? Dis-ease maybe being lower back pain and disease being a fully formed arthritis, or is there no real difference? I see dis-ease as the starting point for forming a full disease. Is that relatable?
Okay, so a lot of my work I share in story. So I use myself as an example through story. When I was little, I was raped and I was molested quite a lot, and I didn't know it was wrong. I mean, you kind of know it's not good, but you know, you got adults that are telling you, no, 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 don't, you know, it's your love, and this is how it is, this is how you receive love, etc. Eventually over the years, because it started to sit from a spiritual into a mental. Now people are telling me, no, that was wrong. Oh, okay, now it's wrong. Now it starts to sit into an emotional body, which is closest to your physical body. Now you start to go, hold on, this was done to me. And this is where a lot of people fall into the victim. Oh my gosh, this happened to me. Oh my gosh, this was done to me. And I formed epilepsy. I formed epilepsy through that, which is the dis-ease in your body. And that disease actually was, help me. Look, I need help. You know, if you look at a little child that's throwing a tantrum on the floor, they just need attention. And when I was throwing my epilepsy tantrums, I realized that I needed to help me. I needed to look at me. I needed to heal within me. So that's how I started to look at the epilepsy and heal that within me. And when I did that, I never had epilepsy again. And same with arthritis, same with lower back pain. I think it was Alexandra that you said is her name. So I had lower back problems, and then it formed into arthritis in my lower back. And I was guided as to how it was that I didn't feel supported in this world. It was money problems. It was support from family and friends. I did not feel supported until I understood I am my own support. And I was shown in ayahuasca how it's just simply by changing your eating habits, changing your lifestyle, starting to do yoga. So I was guided as to how I could heal that. And I listened and integrated it. So I didn't just take that information and go, oh, okay, so that was the problem. I actually went deeper into it to heal it. Because ayahuasca, all of these plant medicines only guide you to what the issue is, to guide you to teach you how to heal it. It doesn't just take it away. It just shows you how you can heal yourself. I hope I answered that.
Yeah, thank you, Anjali.
You're welcome.
Do you have like some examples of how plant medicine has helped people to heal? I mean,
Yes.
you've given your example. Yeah, is there anything else that you could share?
Yes, I had a gentleman. He's one of the most beautiful beings. He was 24 when he came to me. He had had an operation in his back, in his lower back, because he was struggling to walk like really badly. And he came to the ayahuasca retreat. And the very first night, I started to work on his energy in his lower back, in his root chakra. And I started to sing a lot of Ikaro into there and started to release a lot of trauma that was there. I didn't know his history. And the next morning, he came walking out to where we were all gathering, and he was crying, and he said, look, look, and he was kicking his leg up. And I said, what's going on? And he said he literally could not. He could only walk. He could not raise his leg. And the story behind that was his parents are diplomats, and he was traveling from little all over the world. He never felt rooted. He'd never felt like he was at home. He never felt like he was solid in any place. He never knew what home was. So that kind of unlocked for him. And now, I mean, since then, he's lost so much weight. He's athletic. He's traveling the world. He's really a shining star.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
So I've got another question for you then. Not everybody who does a plant medicine journey has a good experience. What steps can a person take to avoid a bad experience, or should one take steps to avoid a bad experience? And like, how can one like learn and grow from that and sort of be safe and secure in that journey?
So, this, firstly, set and setting. Who's holding you? Who's guiding you? That's the first step, the basic. The second step is, if you are having a bad experience, you need to actually voice that. You actually need to voice and say, this is where I'm at, please help me, so that people can assist you. I have heard of many people having bad experiences. I've had a few people who had bad experiences, but it was just really facing their own demons. It was stuff that they kind of had created and had to face. So I was able to walk and talk them through it. And it's usually on the Friday night. So on the Saturday, when we have the San Pedro, they go into it, and it's a heart opening, and it's more understanding, and it's a gentle, oh, that's where I was. And on the Saturday night, then they release that, or they're able to face it. So that's what I do.
And when it comes to bad experiences, it can be what you're experiencing in the ayahuasca space, but it can also be very physical. These medicines need to be respected. That's why there's preparation. It's not something that you walk out of a club and tomorrow you decide ayahuasca is going to help you stop partying every weekend. You know, there's a prep that your body is able to receive the medicine in the way it's meant to be received.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually had a gentleman who disrespected the space, and he had a chicken burger on the Friday before he entered the space. I mean, this guy had a nightmare experience. And when it came out later that he had a chicken burger, I was like, well, then you did kind of deserved it, you know? We gave you we make you sign forms that say that you're keeping to the diet, you're keeping to not having medication, etc., etc. We're very strict with those kinds of things. And we also give the integration afterwards as part of what we do. We give the integration so people can talk through their experience with me, explain it, we unpack it, and we help you to pack it back.
And lastly, it's bad is your perception. Yeah, bad is a perception. You know, I'll boldly use my wife as an example. You know, simply because in the work that we do, we use ourselves as the example. You know, when we come to bad experiences, it may have felt bad at the beginning until she understood what the medicine was showing her. These were things that once she understood, it freed her. Because if you never see these things, you carry them throughout your life. And where disease sets into disease is the longer you carry something, the more it will mutate into something else. So sometimes the bad experiences are the biggest blessings, because rather know those things and see those things about yourself. It's the medicine holding up a mirror saying, take a look. It doesn't have to be this way.
Thanks, guys. So I see a few hands going up in the audience. If you guys can please type your questions into the Q&A tab or even into the chat box, we'll be able to put the questions to Angelie and Malvern. So if you guys can do that, that'll be great. Thank you. So you guys run a number of workshops. You've got upcoming a chakra workshop, understanding the ego workshop, and dealing with your shadow workshop. Can I just ask how that work ties in with the plant medicine? Would you suggest people do some of that work before doing a plant medicine journey, or is it something that you'll do afterwards?
It's purely your choice. It's where you're at. You know, if I say to people, if you don't feel a calling to do ayahuasca, then just kind of do work until you feel the calling. Or in ayahuasca, you kind of guided to maybe just have a look at shadow, then come and do it. So it's kind of where you're at in your life. You know, the way I teach as well is I like to do like a 3 or a 4 or a 8-week course where I connect with you online once a week, and I go through the work, and I leave you for 1 week to experience what I've shown, and I give you homework for you to explore and see these things, then come back the next week, and then we discuss that, and then we work through that, etc., etc. Like the chakra workshop, we actually we discuss the root chakra first week, and I run through the sounds, the colors, the deities, how it works, why it works. Then I give you meditations and things to go and explore the root for 1 week. And then you come back and then you give me feedback on what you were experiencing through the root. And then I lead you to the sacral, etc., etc.
So, Mark, to give you my personal experience, an example where in my one ayahuasca journey, I was shown that I've got chakra blocks, but I didn't have knowledge and understanding of chakra. So to fully integrate and understand what it means to move forward, then I had to go and explore and understand the chakras. So it will differ from person to person which comes first, you know. But when you will feel that calling, you'll feel that yearning, and to guarantee you that ayahuasca is calling you, just watch all the obstacles that come into place before that journey, everything will try to stop you. It's the universe creating that resistance that you need. How badly do you want to go into ceremony? How badly do you want to look into yourself in that space? And sometimes that answers the question.
Okay, thanks, guys. So before I ask more about the workshops, there's a question here on microdosing as an alternative option. Do you guys have any thoughts or opinions about microdosing?
I do. Microdosing is amazing. We do not, through our heart center, because of legalities, we don't do anything to do with psilocybin. However, great results for depression, anxiety, etc. On the dosing of San Pedro, we do offer microdosing. It is amazing, but I do first suggest that you tune in a ceremony to understand San Pedro and then connect to it and then do your microdosing. Ayahuasca, I say absolutely no. I was guided in ayahuasca not to. The previous people that we used to serve with used to give microdosing, and ayahuasca said to me, absolutely no to ayahuasca microdosing.
Okay, great. There's another question from Melissa. Do you have any tips on natural ways to ease depression? Foods or natural supplements or microdosing to start off with? I'm aware of the source and working on this. However, would be interested to know what's good for the body and for the mind to do the work.
Okay, so firstly, let me just start at what we mentioned earlier. First, go get yourself tested to see what you're eating and why. Because a lot of food can make you feel depressed or hold you down, etc. So for clear channels, get your eating right. If you're in Johannesburg, please visit Louise. Otherwise, just find a nutritionist close to you. Secondly, we do have support with things like scaletium. We've got support with valerian, those kinds of natural ways. I've had incredible results with scaletium where people have gone off cats, coke, those kinds of addictions, but also with antidepressants and anxiety meds. It's been phenomenal because you're not allowed to have SSRIs. You're not allowed to have the antidepressants and anxiety meds in your system. You have to wean yourself off a while before you actually participate in ayahuasca. And then we give them the alternative routes that we offer with the natural medicines, and then they wean off and they do not look back, because you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel. You're supposed to go through and understand what is triggering you to heal. You feel to heal. So, yeah. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, depression is also, it's suppressed emotion, and it does influence your food choices. I couldn't agree more with understanding what you are putting into your body, because it's only adding fuel to the fire. But once you can create just a more balance in the physical body, it will then open up the space for you to venture deeper into why you depressed and what's the source of it. You know, we have wellness days that we offer to help understand how your body works and how your body reacts to what you eat and medication and so on and so on. So it's a bit of an open-ended question to answer in this setting, but yes, you know, in our details are available to look deeper, Melissa, for wellness for your body.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. So before we go on with some more questions about the workshops, we've actually got some special offers that are available on the upcoming workshops. So I just want to share a couple of options now. Now, you've spoken about the chakra workshop already, and you've told us what you're going to be doing on the chakra workshop. So there is an early bird special. We'll share the link as well by email and the contact details for our heart center by email. So that early bird special is 1,400 Rand if you book and pay before the end of Friday. Okay, the other workshop that's coming up is Understanding the Ego workshop. Can you perhaps explain what you're going to be covering in this workshop?
Absolutely. So I first explain what identity is, what ego is, how it is constructed, how it runs as a program, etc. And then I explain how the super ego works. So just so that people have that basic understanding of us as humans. And then I go into the ego, and then I delve deeply into how we form ego, what different spiritual levels we form, what kinds of egos. You know, like I like to kind of say this is, you know, a lot of spiritual people develop the deepest egos. It's very interesting to me. It's, you know, say for example, oh, I'm from Pleiades and I'm a starseed. I'm better than you. I'm special. You know, that specialness is an ego. It's, you know, if you were from Pleiades and you were a starseed, you wouldn't be saying that, firstly. But secondly is that, no, you are now human. You're now in a human form. I am now Angie Lee. I've had many beautiful experiences of being all of these wonderful things in past lives. And, you know, being a medicine woman, I touch into these things so deeply. But I'm not that. It's just an aspect of who I am that I bring into here. That's why I know the memories or understand them. So I help bring it in. Would you like to delve deeper into that?
Yeah, well, just to round it off is that the ego governs us. It governs our choices, why you do the job you do, the relationship you're in. It governs your life. So it's worthwhile understanding what is your navigation system for everything that you do on an everyday basis.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. So that early bird special, 800 Rand if you book before the end of Friday. And that really does also sound like it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. The next workshop is the shadow work workshop. Yeah. So again, something you spoke about in your presentation. What else will you be covering in this workshop?
Sure. So it's 4 calls that we have once a week. But I also, in this course, you get private calls with me as well, where I actually help you delve a little bit deeper. I get you to go there. Say, for example, if you had a traumatic childhood experience, I help tune you in to help you change the theme. I help get you to those points that that have been your shadow and help you understand it fully, how you project, what projection actually means. Would you like to add?
Unlocking those memories that for me, the shadow fuels the ego, and unlocking those memories to actually understand what happened for that shadow to get created in the first place is what I got most out of shadow work.
Thank you.
Awesome. Guys, the work that you're doing, these workshops are fundamental on the path. You know, understanding the chakras, understanding the ego, and working on the shadow. This is important work. So I'm very glad that we can offer this special to our audience. I'll be sending an email shortly with the contact details and with the links to those workshops, and those specials apply until the end of Friday. And I really encourage you guys to, if not with Angelie and Malvern and our Heart Center, just do that work, because it will really propel you forwards on your spiritual journey. It's really important stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got another question here, just coming in from Alexandra. Is there a book or a source that you can recommend for information on plant healing? Like what plant for what condition?
Not off the top of my head.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
It's something that once you've shared our contact details, that's something you can contact me about, and I'll be able to guide you. It's been a lot of information retained right now. The file is in there somewhere. It's just not coming to the forefront.
Great. Well, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this evening, for your stories and your wisdom, and for your time. Really thoroughly appreciate it. And by looking at the comments, it looks like everybody in the audience has enjoyed it as well. So thank you very much to the audience. I'll be sharing an email shortly in the next 15 minutes, and we'll share the recording of this webinar tomorrow by email. And you'll be able to contact Anjali and Malvern and hopefully join one of their workshops too. Next week, we have a wonderful presentation by somebody called Marla Naidu, who went from being wheelchair bound with autoimmune disease to healing through holistic practices and literally taking herself to the dance floor. So if you're interested in that, join us next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. To Anjali and Malvern, once again, thank you very much. And to everybody else, have a great week.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.